Hello, and welcome to another edition of It's Just Me. I'm Brent Fox. Got a little downtime here at work, so I am actually going to revisit my rant for the 2026 NFL Draft, particularly for my Pittsburgh Steelers. So, without further ado, here we go. All right. Still pissed off that we wound up drafting a right tackle, not even a left tackle, a right tackle, the first round instead of picking up a much needed receiver because there were still several first round graded receivers available that we just should have just went ahead and picked up. But to be honest with you, and I'm going to keep banging the table on this, you are hosting the 2026 NFL Draft, Pittsburgh. You have to. And you're trying to prove yourself as a prominent football city, correct? You have to establish yourself very early in this process, or you have disrespectful teams like the Philadelphia Eagles and the Dallas Cowboys basically making a mockery out of you by swapping draft places behind your back and then laughing at you about it because they swiped the guy that you was going to get. Guys, that's inexcusable. That's inexcusable. I'm not trying to hear anything about, oh, well, we couldn't find a good trade partner or something like that. You can't tell me that you couldn't convince the Los Angeles Rams to actually just move back a few spaces to try to get Ty Simpson. Wasn't nobody finna pick up Ty Simpson that early except the Rams. So, yeah, no, I'm not going for that. And then what I will say, though, is in the second round, we more than made up for that. And this is the silver lining of the draft. We did actually make a move to pick up Jeremy Bernard. Now, Jeremy Bernard is a Debo Samuel-esque type playmaker because you can play him in the backfield and then you can also play him at receiver. So he's kind of again a Debo Samuel-esque type player to where you can just kind of move him around. So, that is a great addition, to be quite honest with you. So, shouts out to the organization for making that move. But then you cannot turn around and then soil the bed all over again by picking up a guy who is a well-known choke artist in Drew Aller. Now, what I will also say is that if I am wrong, the apology will be just as loud, if not louder, than this particular statement. I don't understand why you would want to draft someone that high. I guess the Ty Simpson flu was contagious for us, maybe in the third round. I do not think that anyone was going to pick up Drew Aller until, maybe the fourth or fifth round, to be honest with you, and that's probably being generous. The guy, if you cut on the tape, the guy shows that he will not rise to the occasion, and that is in college. What do you think is going to happen once he actually gets to the NFL? And then, Taylor Green who is actually physically better than Drew Aller. I think he wound up getting drafted later on in the maybe fifth or sixth round. So I know if you have a better athlete getting drafted at that particular point, Drew could have probably waited, to be quite honest with you. We could have, and look, I'm all for getting the defensive back that we actually got from Georgia, Everett, and then we picked up Jennings Dunker, which is going to be quite the character from what I'm actually looking at. He's got a redhead mullet and all of that good stuff, and more importantly, he's a Iowa lineman. So those are usually pretty good picks. Like if you get a lineman from Iowa, you're you're pretty much going to be okay. So, all right. That's an acceptable pick. We will have to see how he develops though. I mean, just because you look the part don't mean that you can play the part. Now, oh, man, the rest of the draft, unfortunately, and I mean no disrespect by this. The rest of the draft was just kind of full of forgettable guys, except of course the gentleman Eli, I think is Hydrinson or Hendrickson from Navy, who people are already trying to compare to Christian McCaffrey. Like, y'all stop it. Come on. He was drafted in the 7th round, guys. Now, shouts out to him because he's from Pittsburgh and then, of course, served in the Navy and then was able to be drafted. So, shouts out to him. That is a heartwarming story. I'll give this organization that. But the chances of him actually making the team are a bit remote. And then, to be quite honest with you, this kind of raises a question of how they actually value Caleb Johnson. Now, this is a special message for Caleb Johnson. Caleb, these people, and as much as I love my organization, I'm going to be honest with you, Caleb. These people are playing in your face. Okay? Now, it is a heartwarming story that a kid from the area actually gets drafted and has the chance to actually make an NFL roster. That is heartwarming, okay? But they also picked up Rico Dowdle, who plays the same position. They drafted this kid who basically plays the same position. Now, it's already known that Jaylen Warren is actually going to be the guy, or is going to be one of the guys, excuse me. This year, we're going to have to work on our pass blocking so we can get in. But Caleb, once you are able to get your foot in the door and get some playing time, you need to make these mofos regret the moves that they're actually making against you, Caleb. I'm not one of those, if I were you, I'd do X, Y, and Z. What I'm simply as someone that actually wants to see the underdog win. I hope that once you get in there in the preseason and able to run the ball, you light their ass up. You make yourself so undeniable that these people have to rethink their strategy. This is your revenge season, Caleb Johnson. And if you don't take advantage of this, and they're going to give you some messed up opportunities. I'm going to be honest with you, Caleb. They're going to give you some messed up opportunities. They're going to be shit opportunities, and it's not going to be in your favor. But you got to take advantage of any, and I mean any, opportunity that they give you to touch that field, Caleb. You got to make these mofos pay for doubting you. You got to make these mofos pay for them thinking that you're an afterthought. You got to make these mofos pay for not believing in you. Make them pay, Caleb. Make them pay. Make them pay. All right, man. I'm finna go ahead and get back to work, but I just wanted to make sure that I addressed some of the 2026 draft, and then, of course, relay that special message to Caleb Johnson, because I'm actually rooting for you, brother. I'm rooting for you. All right, this is another session of It's Just Me. I'm Brent Fox. I'll holler at y'all later. Check out the Southern Baller Show later on today, okay? 3:30 p.m. Central Standard Time. I should be on there. All right, y'all.